I'm gonna start the stream. Well, I think it's safe to say that we're in for quite the interesting, but okay, I've already messing this up. An entertaining British Grand Prix simply just by the weather. Once again, it has struck. And where else has it struck than Tier 2? Welcome along, everybody, to Breakout Racing League's Tier 2 Championship. We've arrived at where it all started, here at Silverstone. Now, Silverstone, you got 18 corners that make up this historic track, and 2 DRS zones, one going into Turn 6, the other one going into Stowe, that being Turn 15. However, that will be negated, as currently we have some rain, as you can clearly tell, just by the pit lane. And, well, who knows what could happen at this race, because in reality, anything can happen. We've seen controversy, we've seen chaos, we've seen lots of action-packed racing. What does Tier 2 have in store for us? We'll just have to find out. Now, my name is Vikos, and alongside me is Redeemer. Now, Redeemer, it's been a while since Tier 2 has raced. It's been 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, do you expect these runners to be either just out of shape, or do you think they're just going to come in and say, right, I'm just going to give it absolutely everything? What are your thoughts?
Yes. That's all I have to say.
Good answer.
No, it obviously, it's been a while for me. I think it's been since Australia. Whoa, Ardell, what a wait, save it. Okay.
Oh, what a save!
Yeah. So.
Damn, there's not an outlap, but like still.
But yeah, it's been. Oh, oop, you good? Okay.
Is he showing off now?
No.
Like, what's going on here?
I think he just lost it again, going into Maggots and Beckett's, and then he just kind of saved it again. But yeah, it's been 2 weeks, for everybody really. I think these guys, if it's a dry race, these guys are gonna be pushing hard because they want to try to keep that momentum up from the last race, and I think it was Canada. So if they keep pushing hard, and you'll just kind of show that they're still in this fight for the championships and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see no, that's not the track, my guy.
Well, he's going to start the first flying lap of this session. And as you're speaking about momentum, I was going to quickly mention the standings in which the person currently leading the championship, that being No Limit, does have quite a bit of momentum alongside him. As of right now, he leads the championship by 16 points. And, oh, we have a yellow flag. That is going to be a Red Bull. Is that of blacks? Or it's solar? Well, I'm also seeing a Red Bull parked at turn 4.
And then our spin.
So there was... Yeah, oh yeah, and there we go. So already the driver's getting used to these conditions. Going back over to the championship, though, No Limit, as I said, he has quite a bit of momentum alongside him, as in the past 4 races, he has taken 3 wins, 2 of them in a row, and then had a bit of a moment over in Azerbaijan, but then went back to winning ways in Canada. So let's see if he can potentially try and do that again, go for a 4th. Alongside him is his teammate in P2, that being of No Limit. That's a Mercedes, as... gone a little bit haywire, but he's good for now. Then it's Veyron in 3rd, just 7 points behind Ron Swanson. Then it's Vo in P4, so it's McLaren, Ferrari for the top 4 in the championship, with Blacks not too far behind in P5, closely followed by Sky, however, then Charles, Bullet, Groggy, and then Solar rounding out the top 10. And, oh, that is an AlphaTauri around. I believe that's going to be a Brovera, and indeed it is. Spun out at Cops, but he's managed to keep it going. So already, this track proven to be a bit tricky for the drivers, especially in these conditions. Do you potentially expect more or less of this the same in the race, or do you think it might be a little bit less, a little bit more consistent in terms of the conditions?
I mean, it's gonna be hard to say. If it's dry, then obviously more consistency. I haven't gotten a weather update. But if it's like this, then we could see those mistakes. Like I said earlier, what happened?
That is Brovera.
Oh.
Brovera spun round again at the exit of Stowe. Just managed to keep it going though.
But yeah, so on board with Violent actually going into Stowe. Stay on board with him before I finish my thought. Going into the final chicane.
looks very tentative,
Bavaria's
does the
spun
Alfa
again.
Romeo, but he's... Ooh! Yeah, and he has spun round right at the final corner.
Oh,
Now
the
Bio sets the first lap of the session with a 142.6. That is the time to beat Potato. Just about 3 seconds behind right now, and then Veyron pips himself up into P2 with a 42.8. So far, nobody able to beat it. What is No Limit doing? Well, he just goes top of the session, speaking of No Limit, by 4 milliseconds. So already, it's pretty close at the top. Actually, no, wow, never mind. I thought it was 4 milliseconds.
It's 4/10.
It's 4/10 and 4 milliseconds.
Yeah. No, I saw something from Bullet, and I question on why he did that.
We'll have to wait and see what he did as Wingo crosses the line, but I believe that might be a banker, because that's not the most competitive lap I've seen.
Rivera. Again.
Rovera clearly struggling in these conditions by the looks of it. Ardell's not going to be the next one to come across the line, and he's going to put that Aston Martin up into P4. That's a second lap on those mediums, and that is groggy around at the final corner, and that's a Mercedes as well. Also
what is
around
happening?
The final corner, that being a Blacks. This track is not proving easy right now. You can clearly tell. Nobody's liking these conditions at the moment, and it's easy to see that.
I mean, we've
had
the 2 weeks off, obviously. And I think these guys, depending on how much they've played this game, they're not used to these. Yeah, they're not used to these wet conditions.
Wet conditions in this game, to be fair, are pretty tricky in and of itself, as BioGlint is going to come across the line, doesn't improve on his lap, though Veyron does improve on his lap, though, and he goes up into P2, just about 65 milliseconds between him and No Limit. But yeah, this track, it's already tricky enough as it is. Obviously, it's a very historic track, but it has been shown to be pretty tricky. But in the wet conditions, it doesn't make it any easier whatsoever, and it's already proving to be the case with many drivers. And speaking of drivers, I believe we have one new debutant into this race, at least from what I know, and it's the man I'm on board with, that being BRL Clarkson, in which he has just joined BRL and joined Tier 2 this season. So we'll see what he can do in his first race in the Ferrari. Obviously, he's still a reserve, but right now his teammate is up in second place, but we'll see what he can do in his debut race. We'll see how he can compare to the likes of everyone around him, as he's going to come across the line. It's a decent enough lap to put him up to P6.
Whoa, okay. I go on board with Groggy, he spins, and then I go on board with Brovera, and he spins.
Are you a curse?
I must.
Are you a curse?
Okay, guys, I gotta leave. Bye.
Yeah, clearly.
Where's Ritzy? Ritzy, get in here. Yeah.
Honestly.
What should be like watching the stream chat? And he'd just be like, I mean, like one of those little like pandas. He's like, "Come on, you want me?" As Bio.
Well, I don't really see anything in the chat. Yeah, he does with the 42 flat, 2.5 tenths ahead of No Limit now, so he's built up on that first lap, and we'll see if No Limit can possibly try and beat that, as No Limit actually just leaves the pits. Wingo currently on a lap. He sets a purple sector 2 as he's making his way over to Stowe. Obviously, no DRS for the Williams in these conditions. I mean, DRS around here would not be great. Gets a little bit of a slide. Manages to save the car, though. Now going through to the final chicane. Keeping it nice and easy once again. That section proving to be rather tricky, and that's the infamous final corner, as you could say, as he comes across the line, and he puts a lap good enough for P4, so big improvement there for the Williams. He now sits on the second row.
So, you want to hear some BS?
Everything?
My TV provider right now is in a fight with the channel that F1 is racing on this weekend.
Yes.
So I was able to watch FP1.
Oh, that's Solar gone round and has just managed to keep it out of the wall, but that was a I think he might need to check his pants, because that was a bit of a scare.
Wow, you're doing what? 150 into that corner, maybe.
Something like that, yeah.
And the rear end just snaps out on you. You know, I'd be a little bit scared.
I know something scarier though. Going through cops and having a spin there. That is scary in and of itself. So
I have flashbacks.
oh no. As Potato now goes on to provisional pole, by the way, with a 141.7, so we're already into the 41s, and we're just over halfway through this qualifying session. So Potato clearly setting the pace. He likes these conditions at the moment. And Sting in the chat saying, Minico Deemer commentary. Well, I mean, I guess you can still call me Minico. I've already said my username, I guess, previously, but yes. Damn, okay.
I'm kidding. I'm 100% kidding when I say that.
There was no hesitation in that. Damn.
Now I wait for the message. You're like, why? Important.
I do not condone this.
Important thing to note right now: Bullet is on inters.
Is he? Oh, he is. Obviously, he hasn't left the pits yet, but that's an interesting call. So maybe the track conditions are going to get better near the end of the session? Clarkson having a huge moment through the final corner. Comes across the line. He does improve on his time, but he doesn't improve on his position, so he'll stay P7 for the time being.
Yeah, no, so...
And you're saying you're always going to call me Minico. Well, what if I just don't respond to that anymore? How about that?
Right? But
I mean, I can do that.
So, like, I got home today to go to see if they, like, had the channels on my provider, and all of the ESPN channels are just gone. I'm like, this upsets me, because now I can't watch the F1 race when I get home from golf tomorrow.
Damn, that sucks.
No Limit goes P2 with a 41.9.
Yet just under a tenth and a half off of Potato at the time being. By the way, Bullet left the session, so if you can get him in as soon as possible, that would be lovely. But yeah, No Limit once again setting the pace and showing why he's the championship leader. He's pretty much up there, and he is going to continue that run. I believe he is on another lap, is he not? Nope, maybe not. His ERS isn't going down, so yeah, so he's clearly cooling down, possibly going for another lap later on. We have a yellow flag in Sector 2, that being an Aston Martin. I believe that is of Shamrock, and indeed it is. Obviously, Shamrock all the way down in 13th at the moment, 18 seconds off the pace, but that will definitely change, because he definitely has pace. We've seen it we've seen it quite a bit, so hopefully he could show it. Yellow flag at the final corner, and once again, it's Brovera that has gone round at the final corner as Ardell's actually coming by to start his flying lap. So once again, another incident on the final corner. Once again, Brovera struggling, and he actually has wing damage for good measure. It's not looking good for the AlphaTauri, but maybe he has a dry setup. Maybe that's what he's thinking, and he's just struggling to use the dry in the wet. Who knows?
Oh, hey, cool.
What?
Both my baseball teams won. Good night.
Oh, lovely. As Veyron actually crossed the line now, and now he goes up onto the front row and just over half a tenth off of Potato. So nobody able to beat Potato's lap time at the moment. And Potato currently set for pole as it stands at the moment, which I believe is going to be his second pole of the season. Obviously, Potato's not had the best of seasons, but let's see if he can do anything through to this summer break, as we have a yellow flag, once again, through Sector 2, and that being of Clarkson now. I'm seeing a lot of yellow flags in qualifying. This is not what I usually see, typically.
I mean, unless I'm racing, then it's, typical.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, to a point, as Clarkson just completely cuts Maggots. Not sure what's up there. And he loses the car, and again. Oh, bit of a scare once again. So who's the next person currently on a lap? I think, no, Groggy isn't currently on a lap right now, and he actually loses the car. Not what he would have wanted there. Veyron on a lap, though, and he's currently has a time enough to beat Potato by 2 milliseconds. That, for the time being, yellow flag once again. I believe that is for Groggy, potentially getting out of the way, but also having a bit of a moment. Could be either or, but anyways, Veyron coming around the final corner. Can he supplant Potato for pole position? Oh, no, he doesn't. Only improves by 300ths. And that is not going to be enough for pole. He's probably going to go again. Nope, actually, he just completely goes off the track. Never mind. Oh, and we have a gambler coming out of the pits now. Drunken Shamrock, now on the inters.
Is Bullet back in?
I'm not sure.
Let's send him 2 win bites.
I don't know if he is here or not, but we have a bit of a gambler here. That being a Drunken Shamrock. Let's see if he can improve on that P13 with those inters. So we'll have to find out. Meanwhile, Ardell is currently on a lap. He'll be one of the first to come across the line, and he has just set a purple sector 2, and he's just about 2 seconds up on his pace. So there you go, Ardell finally showing what he can do. We've seen that Ardell has the pace. Obviously, if I look, he does have a pole position. But he's just been rather unlucky, I guess. I guess you could say, so we'll have to see. And, well, he's going to come around the final corner. Can he put himself up into the top 5? Oh, just misses out. Goes P6.
It was the last race that I commentated, Ardell had pole.
That was back in Australia, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So that was like 4 races ago. You haven't been here for 4 races. Wow. Meanwhile, No Limit improves on his lap time? No, no. He's just starting his final flying lap. They always get rid of the outlap so early, and it messes me up.
Yeah.
I believe Blacks, though, might be on a lap. Nope, he's starting his lap. Yeah, again! Again, I just can't tell.
I think the first person is going to be Bio.
Is it? We'll have to see as I'm trying to make his way over towards him. There we go. There's the Alfa Romeo going through the final corner right now, I think. No, actually, no, he is starting his final flying lap.
Well, qualifying is over.
It could be Ardell, though Ardell actually just invalidates. Yeah, Wingo does go P3, just misses out on P2 by 0.014. No. Yes. Yeah, something like that. Right now, his Sector 1 has already said that he has the pace to go up to pole. But we'll see what he can do through the final couple of corners, keeping it nice and steady, actually, there. He clearly has a lot of traction, and he's 3/10 up. Purple Sector 2 for the McLaren. So there we go. Can he supplant Potato to go on to pole position? No Limit showing he has the pace, and, well, he has pretty much been up there the entire season. Hasn't had a pole in tier 2 this season. He has 3 wins, and he is looking to try and go for 4. And coming around the final corner, can he put the McLaren on the pole? Yes, he does! No Limit currently on provisional pole with a 141.3. Next person to come across the line is going to be Blacks in the Mercedes, currently 8/10 up. Can he go ahead and No Limit or go better than 8th on the grid? He goes up to 5th. So there we go, Blacks up into the top 5. What about Solar, though? He's improving massively. Only goes up to P7. Still a decent lap time from him nonetheless. Charlos has gone round, and he is completely off. So that is his qualifying done and dusted. What about a BioGlint as Potato pits? Veyron is out. So second and third can't compete. What about BioGlint? BioGlint cannot. What about a Charlos? He isn't able to beat him either. Going over to Shamrock. Shamrock's off the track. The inters have clearly not paid off. And he's going to dive straight back into the pits, and we'll start P13. So with that, that is going to be qualifying over. And No Limit finally gets onto pole position here in Tier 2. Surprising how the championship leader hasn't set a pole position. Well, he's done it now. So there you go. No Limit on pole by nearly half a second. Wow. That's quite a gap, to be honest. And then Potato on the front row, quite a ways behind No Limit here in qualifying, but still on the front row nonetheless. Then it's Veyron in third, Wingo in fourth, Blacks rounding out the top 5. There's BioGlint in 6th ahead of Solar. Ardell starts 8th ahead of Charles. Clarkson on his debut will start in the top 10 at his home Grand Prix, actually. I just noticed he had the British flag, so there you go. At his home Grand Prix, he starts in the top 10 in his debut race. Brovera, Groggy, and Drunken Shamrock unable to go into the top 10, and Bullet, the only person to not set a lap time here in qualifying tonight. And then you send me something about a burger. Holy shit, that is a lot of meat. Sorry for swearing on stream.
The first word my buddy said that to me, and he's like, it goes, first thing that comes to mind, and it's a burger with 6 patties and a lot of cheese. And all I say is, diabetes.
Diabetes. That's a bit crazy. Oh, you got a completely sunny day here for the British Grand Prix. So there you go. That's conditions.
You know what would make that photo like 10 times better, though? Put like a
What
slice
would that
of
be?
bacon between each burger.
Oh boy, add more diabetes onto diabetes. Yep.
Dude,
okay.
I would fall asleep if I ate that whole thing and then just like take a food nap.
It's a food coma.
Food coma, yeah, that word.
I mean, it makes sense.
Going over, don't restrict. This is not going to work for me.
It's been doing that. It's done that to me as well in Tier 3.
My MFD button doesn't work on my wheel, so that's also an interesting fact. But anyways, looking at race director, 1st through 4th are on mediums, Blacks on hards, 6th through 8th on mediums. Excuse me, Charles in 9th on hards. Clarkson
Hold on, as we're about to get ready for the 5 red lights, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's lights out, and away we go. Looks like a pretty good start from the Red Bull further back, but it looks like a good start for No Limit. Same with Potato, as No Limit is able to clear the Alpine into turn 1. Veyron trying to look for the move on Potato. By the time to make it to turn 3, is he able to triangle around the outside? There's a yellow flag further back, that being a Blacks, as that's an Alfa Romeo going off the track. Blacks having a bad start. Veyron moving himself up into 2nd place, and I believe that's an Alfa Romeo spun round. BioGlint has gone round at turn 4. So already a bit of chaos at the start, but luckily no damage, I think, as Ardell is actually looking for a move. Potato on the inside into turn 6, then into turn 7, trying to go around the outside. Potato went a little bit off the track, but he's able to stay ahead. Ardell going for the switchback, though. Has he made that move work? Potato is giving him the space. Ardell and Potato going wheel to wheel. Ardell gets ahead by the time they make it to Cops. So already Ardell looking pretty racy here, but No Limit leads from Veyron, from Ardell, and then Potato and Wingo round out your top 5. Bit of a crazy start, but so far it doesn't look like anybody is out.
You know, I keep forgetting that formation lap is off in this tier. Like, I'm so used to there being a formation lap.
It throws me off. I know, it throws me off. It's glitched. That's simply all.
But
That's
I
just
don't
simply
understand.
how
Like,
it is.
it worked last night for tier 3. Like, I'm flabbergasted.
Trust me. Yeah, I know, it's a little weird, but nonetheless, it is what it is. And going over to the tires, as you were saying before, so the top 6 are all on the medium compounded tire. Brovera, Shamrock, Charlos, and Blacks going onto a set of hards. Groggy going onto a set of softs, interestingly, so he's trying to go aggressive at the start of this race. Has that worked out for him? Yeah, it has, actually. He's gone up 3 positions as a result of it, so there you go, it's worked out. But
honestly,
first lap done,
Shamrock's
No Limit
the
leads.
Winner out of that whole lap 1 ordeal, because I think he started like 13. Oh boy, Groggy. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's just say
Groggy looking pretty aggressive on those softs.
Groggy's
yeah, as you
front
said.
wing was sniffing Shamrock's rear diffuser. I don't know if you.
I know it's weird. Oh, what's happening? Hello? Could that be his controller? Is that a controller issue?
Wait, but
I don't
normally,
know.
if that would have happened, it would just kept going.
I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But Brovera also actually had a spin as well. So Brovera having a moment, and he's going wheel to wheel with Charlos through the cops. Charlos trying to go around the outside, and he manages to do it, does the Williams. So that was very impressive there. And Charlos moves himself up into 11th.
Alright, I'm gonna try to invite Bullet one more time. Oh, nope, it won't let me.
Groggy's moving. He looks to be moving.
Yeah, he's just doing donuts.
He's doing donuts now. I'm not sure. As he actually gets disqualified.
I'm confused.
I'm very confused. Yeah, so am I. As now, gone to lap 3, Ardell sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:31.2, and DRS has now been enabled. And right now, Veyron and Ardell currently have that DRS, and, well, we might see a little bit of a DRS train forming by the time they make it out of turn 5. And actually, Veyron might be just outside. Nope, he has the DRS, so never mind. So there we go, top 3, pulling away from the pack.
Just before turn 3.
That is true. It's pretty much at the braking zone. So No Limit is not able to pull away just yet. Veyron just quietly staying within that DRS right now. And Ardell has already looked pretty racy at the start of this race, up 5 positions. And he's going to try and make it 6, maybe even 7. So he's looking pretty racy.
I say no more.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But still, he's clearly had a good start in this Grand Prix, so he's going to try and make up for it. Actually, both Aston Martins had a good start. Ardell at 5, Shamrock up 6. So, Aston Martin at the start of a race might want to watch out for them, because they know what to do, though Shamrock has already got an ERS.
Yeah, that's the problem, no. The circuit is not kind to ERS.
Yeah, the best strategy really is to be within DRS and able to save some of that ERS to potentially launch an attack later on. That's granted if the person in front of you doesn't have DRS, so I'm pretty sure that's what all these drivers are going to try to plan. And right now, Veyron's probably thinking that as he's closing on to the back of No Limit, as No Limit's just trying to keep it easy, trying to keep it calm, but Veyron giving it everything he can to close up onto that McLaren, and he has DRS on that McLaren, but I don't think it's going to be able to make a move by the time they make it to turn 6. Just a little bit too far back. Gonna have to be careful, though, because as I said, Ardell looking racy.
I mean, just look at the ERS difference between the top 3. You know, first and second are pretty similar, and then there's just Ardell.
Kind of cheating a little bit with the steering wheel, but yeah, Ardell using a little bit of ERS. It has worked out for him in his favor, so fair enough. Yeah, just pushing it a little bit. Meanwhile, someone that's also pushing it is Wingo, as Potato has a little bit of moment through Cops, and that's going to allow Wingo to be right onto the back of that Alpine. Not able to do anything just yet, but he does have the DRS and gets a decent... He doesn't get the best of exits. He's going to have a good enough exit to be close enough to that Alpine, and he has the DRS, has the slipstream. I think Potato's just going to let him by, and indeed he does. Wingo up into 4th place. Now, actually, Potato potentially trying to challenge, but he's just a little bit too far back. And Potato from 2nd down to 5th now, so he's not had the best start to this race. Oh, speaking of best starts to this race, Ardell is round.
Yeah, I say no more.
You've already said your stuff. Quiet.
That's what I said.
Now, Ardell now down to 8th.
That's what I said. I say no more.
We'll just leave it at that.
It's probably a good idea.
By the way, Bullet is still not in his car, so...
Yeah, I can't invite him.
Bullet... You can't?
Nope.
That's a little weird. Stick is saying he sort of called it. You said he was gonna wreck someone.
Stig,
Didn't say
I called
he was gonna wreck himself.
Stig, leave. I called it first. Get.
Alright, fair enough. So, looking at the front two, by the way, look how close Veyron is onto the back of No Limit going through Megan's and Beckett's. He's looking pretty close. I forgot to change my camera view for the Ferrari. So it's currently centered right now, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah. As Ardell now gets a 3-second time penalty. Let me guess, you say no more?
Yep.
Alright, we'll leave it at that.
Let's give
Veyron
like the
unable to challenge.
Say no more.
That's your thing. That's your thing right now, not mine.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you're gonna eventually say it at some point.
Maybe. I don't know. As
Oh.
Charlos now gets a 3-second time penalty.
Is that,
And he's currently down in P11.
was that on exit?
And potentially?
I'm
pretty sure it was. Stig saying that Ardell is a fast version of him. Can you confirm or deny that?
I'm gonna say false.
Really?
Yep.
Why would that be?
Because Stig is in a assist using... Yeah, I say no more.
Alright. he uses more assists, alright.
Yep.
We'll
I'm
simply
trying to
leave
talk
it at
him
that.
into taking an assist and turning it off for the rest of the season. He's just like, no. And he's convinced that once you sign up using assists, like if you sign up using all the assists, you have to keep using the assists throughout the season. I'm like, no. If you sign up using
You're
all
able to turn
assists,
them off.
yeah, you can turn them off. You just like, for me,
You just
for
can't turn
example,
them back on once you
yeah.
turn them off.
Right.
That's just how we have it.
Right. And I race with no TC, you know, everyone knows that. And he's like, oh, I'm faster than you. I'm like, yeah, because you literally get out of the corners and you just hammer the throttle. And like,
It won't be as funny as the Wario. That noise was simply a time of his own, but yeah.
Dude, I don't even know how I did it though. Like, that's the confusing part.
At the end of the day, it was beautiful. All right. As meanwhile, we have a yellow flag as Brovera. So clearly, wet or dry, Brovera just not having a good time once again. And now he has spun around, is down all the way in P13 now. Not the AlphaTauri's day here in Silverstone. Going back over to our debutant for this British Grand Prix, Clarkson. He's running a pretty solid race in and of itself right now. I mean, he isn't where Potato is, but he has pulled away from Shamrock, and, well, he's kind of in his own world right now, though Shamrock is starting to close in a little, but he's had a pretty solid race as it stands.
I look at it this way, you know, the mediums go, you know, they're reaching their end of their life expectancy. The hards are just now starting to come into where they're actually going to feel good and racy. So... Oh, F.
Sorry, I just had a little bit of a message from Groggy talking about his issue that he had as Charlos got the 30-second time penalty. But yeah, the hards might be starting to kick in and come a little bit more competitive at this stage of the races. The mediums are starting to go off a little bit. Right now, it's not as significant as Clarkson might have gone a little bit wide. You have a yellow flag. Sector 3, though nobody's gone round by the looks of it, so...
I think it might have been Charlos.
Maybe? I don't know. Blacks is onto the back of him at right now for P11, so we'll just have to see. So far, not really much movement right now.
Veyron's playing this pretty smart, if you ask me.
That being?
He's kind of saving his tires by staying behind No Limit. And B, he's also gaining ERS because he's staying behind No Limit, not having to use ERS, so he's allowing No Limit to... Uh-oh. That was going through
a little bit wide, though.
Yeah. I mean, you know, dirty air in this game is actually a factor, and it actually does suck. Especially
through here. Maggots and Beckett says he gets a decent exit, though, in relation to No Limit here. Is it going to be enough, though?
That was a double.
And No Limit trying to break the toe. He's more just trying to break the toe, so I wouldn't really count that as anything, if I'm being honest.
I mean, just from like my point of view, you know, that looked like it was. But no, Veyron's being pretty smart about this by staying behind No Limit. You know, saving his tires slightly, and also gaining ERS by staying behind No Limit and letting him drag him around the circuit.
I think Veyron's game plan here is that he's playing the long game right now. Because, I mean, he is already in a world of his own with No Limit because they're 3.5 seconds ahead of Wingo. So he can do as much as he wants, granted as long as he's within that DRS. So he's clearly thinking of the long-term plan in this race as he is gaining once again on No Limit. And well, nearly hits the back of him, actually, so No Limit might be struggling a little bit, actually. Yeah, Veyron he's staying exactly where he needs to be, and it seems to be working out. Yellow flag once again, that's for Brovera, still not having a good time. And he's, well, he's quite a ways off the pack now, as No Limit goes a little bit wide there through Cops. And Veyron, very, very close onto the back of that McLaren. Could we potentially see a move, or is it the dirty air? Oh no, the dirty air just kicked in hard. The dirty air just cost him about 3/10 there. Though he is actually going to look for the move. He's going wheel to wheel with him, and he's going to make the move into Stowe. And now Veyron takes the lead of the British Grand Prix. No Limit trying to fight it back. I think there's a little bit of contact though. He goes down the inside through the chicane. Veyron able to keep it around the outside. Veyron going to try and go for the switchback though. Through to the final corner. Veyron trying to keep it around the outside, and he does, but No Limit has that inside line, is able to stay ahead of the Ferrari, and indeed he does. And now that is BioGlint out of the race. What has happened to the Alfa Romeo?
Ardell get a 5-second time penalty too.
That was for speeding in the pit lane, and BioGlint, oh, he hit the pit wall.
Oof.
He hit the pit wall.
I'm wondering if he and Ardell had a coming together.
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that is BioGlint out of the race. And now that is the second retirement in the British Grand Prix. And No Limit, well, it was pretty good battling between the front two and No Limit. Just having the traction on the inside to keep that lead by the time they exit out of the final corner. And that has proved to be worth it, as he's able to stay ahead. But he might be struggling a little bit. And, oh, yeah, he is struggling. Look how much Veyron just caught up, as Potato now gets a 3-second time penalty. But Veyron, once again, has the DRS on No Limit. Is he going to make a move into Stowe? He's going to think about it around the outside. No Limit has the inside line, though, able to stay ahead. No Limit going a bit deep, though, through the corner. And now Veyron's going to go for it into the chicane on the inside. No Limit trying to keep it around the outside, and he manages to do so. But Veyron trying to go for the switchback. Has it worked out for him? No, not quite. So with that, No Limit able to stay ahead. These two are having a pretty good battle.
Not sure what happened to Charlie. Fine, game.
Well, it looked like there was a yellow flag for him, so he clearly had a moment. And did it say he left the session?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not entirely sure.
Excuse me. He spun.
Maybe his game crashed.
Right. So he spun, and then immediately afterwards, I don't know if his game crashed or what happened, but it said that he left. So
that's a bit interesting. By the way, I just got info from how BioGlint retired, and you were right. It had something to do with Ardell.
I say no more.
He said that Ardell didn't break into the pits. And that caused BioGlint to either move or make contact, and he went into the wall, as Clarkson now gets a 3-second time penalty. The battle for the lead, though, might be heating up once again, as Veyron is trying to go around the outside. Brovera's retired from the session, though. Is that going to bring a halt to this battle? Indeed he does. And the safety car is out on lap 11, and both drivers in the top two have immediately decided to go into the pits.
Top three
Not
are
surprising, though, because this is... Not surprising, though, because this is pretty much the pit window for when the mediums... this is when the time that people will pit for mediums. Shamrock's in. Obviously, he's on those hard compounded tires. Is he going to try and extend the hards, the mediums, to the end? So,
I mean, maybe.
Let's see. It's going to be an interesting case. I believe, I think everyone might pit, as Blacks is also into the pits on those hard compounded tire. What does Charlos do? Charlos is actually an AI, so that doesn't matter. And, I think Ardell might be kicking himself a little bit. He's going to dive right back into the pits, interestingly. But Ardell pitting a couple laps earlier, and well, this safety car has just absolutely ruined what he was trying to do. Oh, and hang on a minute. We actually got a couple people jumping others in the pit stop as Drunken Shamrock was able to jump Clarkson into the pits as Clarkson had to wait a little bit because Veyron pitted. So there we go. The double stack for Ferrari has not paid off. Clarkson down a position, Shamrock up a position. Oh boy. Looking over, most people are on the medium compound, the hard compounded tire, my apologies, as Potato and Wingo are switching back and forth. I'm not sure what's going on there. But most people have gone on to the set of hard compound of tire. Shamrock on the medium, same with blacks. Obviously, they started on the hards. Charlo's staying out, though he isn't here. So I'm not sure what's going on with him there. Ardell going on to a set of softs? That's interesting. The softs definitely won't make it, so not sure what's going on there for the Aston Martin. We'll just see what his game plan is. But No Limit still leads from Veyron, from Potato, then Wingo in fourth. That's your top four. Shamrock moving up a position. Clarkson down after the pit stops. Then Solar, Charlos, Blacks, and Bullet having a moment. Blacks getting ahead? I think. I'm not entirely sure. As he's... Actually, no. Blacks is trying to get ahead of Charlos's AI. And, well, that's clearly not working out. Because you can't overtake under safety car. Everyone knows this. Should be common knowledge.
Oh, Ardell's on... Okay.
What was that?
They're just talking to myself.
Oh, some normal procedures?
Yeah, slightly normal. But I'm confused.
Just stop talking. You don't know what you're talking about anymore.
No, I really
Ardell
don't.
goes back into the pits, by the way. So, clearly that maybe those softs were to potentially try and catch up to the pack. I don't know. He's going to go back onto a set of hard... What? Okay, now I'm even more confused. What was the game plan there? He's just going to go back onto the set of hards. Or maybe he was negating a little bit of tire wear by going onto the softs. I don't know. Ardell doing a little bit of shady stuff.
Ardell do Ardell things.
Exactly. But he's going to try and catch up to the pack, as I would presume that the safety car should be in on this lap. I'd be surprised if it wouldn't. So, with that, No Limit is going to lead us through the end of the safety car phase. So it is going to be his discretion as to when the race will resume. If it resumes by next lap, but it might go another lap because Ardell's quite a ways behind. We'll just have to see what the McLaren does, though. Obviously, the championship leader, currently leading by 16 points over his teammate Ron Swanson, though Ron, unfortunately, isn't here for this race, and he actually wasn't there for last race as well, which caused No Limit to jump up to P1 in the standings. And Veyron not too far behind Ron in the standings. If things were to stay the way they are, No Limit will extend his advantage, and Veyron will jump himself up into second place. And then that would also mean that No Limit has over a race distance between him. Yeah, it does stay out. But if things were to stay the way they are, No Limit will have a one race advantage over the pack at the end of this race. But we still have half of this race to go. So don't count anything out just yet. We can still see a fascinating end to this Grand Prix.
What race is even next? I don't even know.
Austria. The Austrian Grand Prix next.
Then,
oh.
And then Hungary.
Do you not like that track or something?
I mean, I do.
You just wanted it to be Hungary, didn't you?
No. I had a race there 2 weeks ago. And coming out of turn 3, I lost traction and got hung up on the curb on the left-hand side.
Oh, ain't that lovely?
So I reset the track and I reported it. And instead of the stewards in the league that I'm in saying, you know, due to him being stuck on the curb, we're gonna take this as, you know, no further action. They decided to give me a 10-second time penalty for resetting the circuit.
See, I feel like that's unfair.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty unfair.
Right, and I'm like,
you're stuck. What can you do?
I'm like, so either I get disqualified from the session for being stopped on track, or I reset.
Then it's not even your fault.
Right.
Well, it is your fault because you spun, but...
Right, but like being beached on the curb, you know, like how am I supposed to like get out of that predicament? And like I have the clip, I can send it to you. As safety car goes in, my rear wing was against the wall.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've never been beached in a league race yet. It might happen. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't have any wood near me.
Okay, I'll do it.
Actually, wait, yes I do. Here we go. There you go.
I faintly heard it in the distance.
That was the point. I did that on purpose. As No Limit is now going to lead us to the line. When does he go, though, is the question. He immediately goes out of the final chicane, crosses the line. The race is now resumed, and No Limit leads from Veyron, from Potato, from Wingo, and then Drunken Shamrock. That's your top 5 at the moment. So far, nobody not really making any moves. As it stands, everyone just kind of evenly spread out. Though Blacks is actually already going for a move on Charlos, so Charlos still in AI. So that would confirm that. Meanwhile, Blacks is actually now going to potentially look for a move on Solar here. By the way, I don't know if you know, but I actually kind of mix up Blacks and Solar a little bit. I don't know why. It's a little weird, but I don't know why. I just do. As Blacks is actually going to look for the move on the inside into turn 6. As Solar's going to try and keep it around the outside, but the advantage of the mediums clearly playing part. And now Blacks is trying to go around the outside. Can he make it stick? No. Solar just has that inside line, though. Actually, Blacks might be a little bit there by the time they make it over to Cops, so this is a little bit of deja vu from real life. Though this time the Mercedes is on the outside, and now Mercedes is not able to clear the Red Bull just yet. And with that, Solar stays ahead, stays in P7. Black stays in P8.
Tier 2 chat is spicy right about now.
What's that?
Tier 2. Excuse me, Tier 2 chat be a bit spicy right now. What is going on here with the Red Bull? Okay. And then Ardell.
Yeah, Ardell clearing the 2 AI cars at, right now. Yeah, just 10th and 11th are kind of having their own affair, I guess. They're literally inside of each other. That sounds a little weird, but if you look at it, you'll see what I mean.
This is supposed to be a PG channel or not.
It is, technically. Take it how you will type of situation, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I said literally. Actually, no, that makes it worse. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll just shut up.
Where's Ritzy? Ritzy, you gotta replace one of us.
Ritzy can't help us now, okay? He would make it worse.
It actually might make it more entertaining.
It would. It definitely would, as that is Potato getting a little bit out of shape out of Brooklyn's. And now going through left field, Shamrock on the back of that Alpine right now. Shamrock potentially look for a move into Cops. He's definitely going to think about it. Potato, I think he just lets it by. Indeed he does. Shamrock has now moved himself up into 3rd place as Ardell.
No
the other Aston Martin gets a 3-second time penalty. And by the way, I just want to quickly say, Shamrock, he started 13th. He's gone up 10 positions and is up to 3rd. He's had an amazing race, to say the least.
Driver of the day.
I mean, it's looking pretty much like that right now.
That was really weird. I never want to do that again.
Well, you already did it, so it's a bit too late.
Yeah, I know. It's also late, and I'm like hella tired right now, so
Fair enough. You got a point there as Veyron now sets the fastest lap of the race with the 131.1. So for the top two, just kind of in a world of their own once again. It's like nothing's changed for the front two at this stage of the race, though. From third down to last, actually. Every one of them within a set. Actually, no, not Bulla and Charlos, but from third down to ninth, everyone's in a bit of an Aston Martin sandwich right now, as Shamrock is trying to pull away from Potato. And no, it definitely wouldn't. It would taste a little bit, shit, because the Aston Martin isn't great. Again, sorry for swearing on stream, but, you know, I only do it for historical accuracy. And by that, I mean real life. What's going on? What happened?
I almost saw Blacks take out Clarkson in Brooklands, I think.
Did you just say Clarkson? This isn't Jeremy Clarkson. This is Clarkson.
Whatever. No, I said Clarkson. I'm chewing gum, so it makes it sound different. You know, you're
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Actually, if you look at it, the fourth down to seventh are very, very close to each other right now as Clarkson on the back of Wingo. Wingo on the back of Potato as Wingo's now trying to go around the outside and makes the move into Stowe. And Wingo's moved himself up into fourth place. A little bit of a lag moment. Oh, another lag moment. As now Blacks is potentially looking for a move on Clarkson. Round the outside at the chicane. Though Clarkson has that outside line that goes a bit off the track. And now Blacks is going to try and have that inside line into turn 18. And that's an Aston Martin going around. That's Ardell. Bit of contact between him and Solar as Clarkson is able to clear Blacks and keeps his sixth place. But Ardell having a little bit of contact with Solar, and that has cost him dearly.
I mean, that was never really going to work in the first place.
And to be fair, they are all closely together, so I mean, it's a bit of a crazy situation in and of itself.
That reminds me of that four-way fight at Jeddah in Tier 3 earlier this season.
Oh, God. That was something else.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. If anyone hasn't seen that, be sure to check it out. It's on Breakout Racing Leads YouTube channel. So yeah, be sure to tune into that. It's pretty easy to search. So
that was back when you were still. That was back when you were still Minico.
That's right, because I changed it last week in between Canada and Britain, and well, now I'm no longer Minico. And for those that don't like it, suck it up, because I do not care. As now Blacks has the DRS on Clarkson once again, and this might be an easier move than before, and he clears that that Ferrari. By the time they make it to Stowe, and indeed he does. So now that is Blacks up into sixth place, Clarkson down to seventh. And now he's going to try and chase after Potato, and Potato still sticking onto the back of Wingo here, as Wingo's trying to pull away from the Alpine, though the Alpine does have that 3-second time penalty, so that's definitely going to play a factor at the end of this race.
So, side note, there's a bug on my TV.
Oh, I love that.
And no, I can't. I can't get up and kill it because I have, you know, steering wheel in front of me. So
just spray it. I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, let me spray my TV. That hardly works right now. Well, I mean, my TV works. My remote doesn't. So
undo it. I don't see an issue. Yeah, exactly. You have no words because you just know I'm right.
No, you're left.
Damn, you're right. I am left-handed. I am left-handed. So technically, you're not entirely wrong on that.
You bring that up. I'm right-handed, but Blacks. Are you turning into Valtteri?
Oh, meanwhile, hold on. Battle for the lead starting to brew up a little bit as Veyron once again was looking for a move on No Limit. No Limit just able to stay ahead of Veyron. Veyron seems to have better pace in relation to that McLaren now. And No Limit, obviously, he has track position. That's clearly playing a factor in this race. But the top two starting to have a little bit of a battle again. Pretty sure they're happy, though, that they're at least away from that huge train of cars you can see from 4th all the way down to 8th. So at least at least they're thinking, well, at least I'm away from that, so we can have our own thing, as Veyron, once again, does have the DRS on No Limit, and, well, he's just not close enough, though, to make a move, and is gonna have to stay behind for another lap.
Hey, it's weird, like, he catches them in, like, weird corners, and then everywhere else, it's just, like, No Limit is just better.
Well, I think the reason for that also is because, when it comes to, especially Megans and Beckett's, where we're coming through now, as you can see, Veyron's closed up, but the second you go through Megans and Beckett's, you can see dirty air kick in a little bit, and, well, yeah, there we go, a 10th. He actually only lost a 10th there, so it's not playing too much of a factor, and that might give a bit of encouragement to Veyron. He does have the DRS, he does have the slipstream, he's trying to go around the outside into still, once again, No Limit having that inside line. Veyron did have that option to go on the inside, but he thinks, I'm going to try and go around the outside, make it a little bit more stylish. Hasn't worked out for him, however, and he's going to have to stay behind for, once again, another couple of corners, or at least another lap.
I thought these cars were, like, easier to follow behind now, in theory.
I mean, they are. They are easier to follow, but 30 air is still playing a factor.
Ardell.
As
Okay.
Ardell now sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:31.0. So Ardell showing that he could have had the pace, but the race has just simply not gone the way he wanted it to. And yeah, he's all the way down in P9, so he'll still get points. Granted, as long as he pulls away from 10th and 11th. It's not going to be easy, though. I can tell you that much. So someone trying to gain a couple more positions and get further ahead was Blacks. He did look for a move on Potato through to Brooklyn's, but once again, not able to do anything. So he's going to have to stay behind for a little bit.
Back up. Why is Ardell not going to be able to pull away from 10th and 11th?
DRS.
They're both they're AI, bro.
This game. And also Ardell, as you said multiple times before.
Okay.
Things happen.
I say no more.
As Veyron has the DRS, No Limit trying to break the toe. Veyron trying to go around the outside once again, and he's actually got a little bit more traction this time around. He's gonna keep it alongside that McLaren. Now has that inside line into the chicane. No Limit still trying to fight it back and has that outside line. Now shoves Veyron a little bit wide. No, Veyron able to stick it, and they still managed to go through the final corner. And now wheel to wheel through to turn one. There's contact. Veyron has spun No Limit out of the lead of this race. And that will no doubt be a Stewart's inquiry. That's not going to go down with the McLaren at all. 2-1.
I'm not even racing and that hurts. Like, to not set a foot wrong, to lead from start to lap 22, and then that. I mean,
the thing is that this isn't the first time, though, that Veyron's had a moment with a race leader. If you think about it, all the way back in Baku, Veyron hit the back of Ardell and caused him to crash out. This time he's collided with No Limit, as No Limit makes a move on Clarkson now for P6. But No Limit, he had that inside. So theoretically, that technically was his corner. But Veyron was probably thinking that No Limit was going to use a little bit more of the curb, and it just didn't work out as, yeah, they made contact. No Limit went straight around. And yeah, that's that. But that's the second time now that this season Veyron has collided with the race leader, and it hasn't worked out for the leader, as now No Limit is now looking for the move on Potato around the outside to the chicane. And, well, I would not be surprised if No Limit's a little bit frustrated after this, as, by the way, Wingo and Blacks have caught up to Drunken Shamrock, and that's Clarkson around. Gone around to the final corner, and now he is down to P8. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
I'm gonna record that.
There's been a switcheroo, and that's Veyron round not Veyron, No Limit round again. It's gone from bad to worse for the McLaren, and you just have to feel for him, as Potato lets No Limit by, actually, but that's just painful. He was leading this race for so long. You just have to feel. You just have to feel for him. Gutting. It's just absolutely gutting. That's all it is. Is now P2. Well, Veyron's now leading this race quite comfortably. But now, there's a bit of a battle for P2. Now starting to heat up in this race. Shamrock, Wingo, and Blacks all within a DRS train of each other. Blacks looking pretty quick, it must be said, on those mediums. Those mediums might be starting to fall off a little bit as Wingo unable to make a move on Shamrock into Stowe. And he's going to have to stay behind the Shamrock one a little bit wide there. That's not going to cost him anything, though. By the way, I want to quickly mention Solar in P5. He's had probably the most quiet race ever. But he's in the top 5 right now, so Red Bull is just minding his own business as it stands at the moment.
I mean, he was my old teammate, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right, he was.
Because I did have Ron for a couple races. And then I was teammateless. And then Solar was a reserve. And then I had the seat open up and I messaged him. And I was like, hey, what car do you want? He goes, I'll take this one. I was like, okay.
Your teammate's with me now, by the way. And he was probably like, oh no.
Well, no, I gave him the decision. I said, I have these cars open.
He didn't know where who he'd be partnered with.
I mean, I had a terrible season last season. You know, coming off of the championship from Tier 4 and then being bumped up to Tier 3 was just whoa. Okay.
Oh, and that is Clarkson around.
And that was a reset too.
Oh. Naughty. As Wingo is now going for the move on Shamrock into Stowe. And Wingo was able to clear that Aston Martin quite easily. And now Wingo in the Williams is up into second place. Wingo having a pretty solid race, it must be said. He's pretty much been in that battle. And now he's moved himself up into the podium places. Now Drunken Shamrock is going to have pressure from Blacks behind. Let's look over a time penalty situation by the way. So Shamrock currently has 3 seconds right now. So that'll drop him only 1 position, to be fair. So it's not all bad. Ardell, currently 9 seconds. Oh, that's a bit of contact between Shamrock and Black. Shamrock getting all out of shape out of turn 4. And Black's hitting the back of him. You cannot say that that's really Black's fault either. But so far it doesn't look like there's any damage for either car. So they just managed to escape with that. It was a bit close, though.
That was a good stretch.
Mood.
Dude, literally as soon as this race ends, I'm gonna do literally P3 for whatever. And then I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna go crawl in bed and fall asleep.
Fair enough.
Because
I might make you do P2 now that you said that.
No, because it's, Eastern Standard Time, East Coast guy, mood.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh.
As Blacks is potentially looking for a move on Shamrock once again. Shamrock going a little bit wide, though, out of Stowe, and that might give Blacks a little bit of opportunity through the chicane, trying to go around the outside. The Shamrock has that inside line. Blacks potentially going for a little bit of a switchback, though, but he's just not close enough, doesn't quite have the traction. The Shamrock getting a little bit out of shape as we're on the final lap now. Blacks and Shamrock going wheel to wheel now through the turn 1. And Shamrock gets another 3-second time play. Blacks, though, able to keep it around the outside. But Shamrock able to stay ahead into turn 3. Though he's going for the switchback is Blacks once again. And Shamrock, able to stay ahead, doesn't get out of shape this time around. And now this might be a little bit of an easy move here for Blacks as he has the DRS, he has that slipstream. They're actually pretty level on ERS, but Black's having a little bit more pace in hand, and he's able to get ahead. Shamrock trying to challenge, but it's simply not enough. It is simply not enough for the Mercedes, and that is him now up into third. We go from the battle for third, though, over to the lead of this race, and well, it may be a little bit controversial, needless to say, but Veyron has been in the top 2 for this entire race. Had quite a battle with No Limit earlier before that early contact. We'll have to see how that will play out in terms of the stewards' inquiries, but right now, at least Veyron on track, leading this Grand Prix, and he's going to come across the line through the final corner. He wins the British Grand Prix, and that is his second win of the season. Wingo comes across the line, and he's going to take second place and the fastest lap for good measure. Blacks will take third. He didn't take it by much, though, because as you said, Solar, out of absolutely nowhere, and he manages to take fourth. No Limit actually takes fifth. So that battle between Blacks and Shamrock clearly costed them. Shamrock down to sixth. I missed the rest of it. But Veyron, your winner of the British Grand Prix, might be a little bit controversial, though.
Also love how an AI got driver of the day.
There you go, that's the winner of the British Grand Prix in that yellow suit, not the red suit this time around. That being of Veyron. He wins here in Silverstone, though that might not stand. We'll have to see. But Wingo takes P2, and I believe, if I look over, that's Wingo's first podium of the season, actually.
Hey.
So Wingo grabs his first podium of the season. There you go. What a way to do it, too. He grabs the fastest lap of this race.
Can we get a people happy teamer?
And Blacks gets another podium, his third podium of the season. But it's Veyron that takes the win here in Silverstone ahead of Wingo, and Blacks rounding out the podium. Solar, a very quiet day, but he takes P4, No Limit P5, Shamrock P6, Bullet 7th, Potato 8th, Clarkson 9th, Ardell 10th, Charlos a lap down. We lost Brovera, Bioglen, and Groggy from this race, and I assume you'd be inviting the drivers to podium interviews? Alright, good to know. So we'll just have to wait for them to join us here in the booth. Yeah, quite a bit of a crazy and a bit controversial British Grand Prix, needless to say, and yeah. Oh, wrong person. Hold up. I believe we're just waiting on Wingo and Blacks to join us here in the booth.
They're already here.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
My notifications have been... No, I didn't hear anything and I didn't see anything.
Well, they're clearly
I'm not
here,
even joking.
So...
Alright, well, with that we can get this underway then. And Redeemer, why don't you take us off with Blacks for P3?
Yep, so guys, obviously, make sure your audio is included by clicking the box in the party. Blacks, another podium, I believe, for you. You stretched the mediums there on that safety car. You know, just walk us through your race and congratulations.
Well, it was a fun recovery drive, I could say, after that little spin at turn 1, you could say. I was looking forward to my strategy, and it worked out perfectly because the safety car ended just when I was gonna pit if it didn't even happen in the first time. But it was crazy when I saw No Limit spin, because I realized I was fighting for a podium, and then the nerves kicked in. I almost snapped out and died onto a hanger straight once. My worst tire was front left. It was at 71%, but the rears were at 60 and the front right was also 60. It was pretty scary. And at the last corner, last lap, I just had to completely park it in the middle so Solar couldn't take it from me, because I really wanted the podium.
Yeah, nonetheless, it was a really tasty and feisty battle there at the end for P3. Next week, head over to Austria. What are your thoughts?
I don't really have much hope for it, because these guys find time out of nowhere, and they know how to make turns work for them and gain time at the weirdest places. So I just try to get into the points, to be honest.
Yep, not a bad strategy heading into next week at Austria, one of the shorter tracks. I believe it is the shortest track on the calendar. I could be mistaken though. Mick, any further questions?
No, I do not. Just congratulations on your third podium of the season, and quite a way to do it with that battle at the end. So yeah, fair play, and well done to you for a really good recovery drive. We'll go over now to to the man who finished P2 in the British Grand Prix, and that would be Wingo. Now, Wingo, this is actually your first podium of the season, and I think you're first in BRL. Am I not mistaken on that?
Yep, this is my first season and it's my first podium.
Wow, you did well. You definitely earned it. Needless to say, you're pretty much up into the top 5 positions the entire race, battling with that DRS train, and well, you were there to really capitalize at the end, and you managed to take P2 here in the British Grand Prix. And how does that feel? And how's the race from your perspective?
Well, I thought I could fight for the podium since qualifying, but it was pretty hard because No Limit and Bayron, they both had a great pace. So I just tried to stick on third place and hope they crash or something like that. And yeah, they actually crashed. And in the safety car, I lost the position with Potato, well, that guy, because I almost spun and I thought the race was over, but I didn't give up and managed to get a good pace at the end.
And pace you had indeed, because you took the fastest lap at the final lap of that race, so fair play to you on your podium and fastest lap for the British Grand Prix. Next week, we go over to the Austrian Grand Prix, and well, it's safe to say, though, that you do have the pace. It's just things have not been fortunate to you, but now that you have this podium under the bag, do you think now that you have this confidence to bring it to next week, do you think you could potentially try and challenge for the win, or do you potentially think that it's going to be a bit of a tough one?
Well, now I have a lot of confidence. I think I can fight for the win more often. So yeah, I think I can get a couple of wins this season.
Yeah, we'll just have to see in the next coming races, but as of right now, you gotta celebrate this podium, this being your first podium of the season, of course. So with that, congratulations to you on your first podium ever in BRL. And with that, we shall now move on to the winner of the British Grand Prix, and well, might be a little bit controversial, but nonetheless, you're pretty much up at the front too that entire race, and well, despite that contact, you managed to take the win here at the British Grand Prix, that being pre-Stewards Inquiry. We'll just have to see, but tell us your thoughts on that race.
Yeah, first, I'd like to congratulate Wingo for first podium. That's awesome. It was a good race. I had a lot of pace. I definitely had built up some confidence here after realistic race on Thursday. But yeah, I was happy to be fighting for the win the whole time, and yeah, I was just trying to find a way around him, but it was hard following through Maggots and Beckett's, and also he was breaking the slipstream a lot, weaving down the straight. But the battling was fair. We just got to a point on the track where it's nearly impossible to go 2 into 1, and I was trying to. I had edged ahead just a teeny bit going into turn 1, and I was hoping he'd yield, because being on the inside of turn 1 is never a favorable position, and it's really hard to go too wide through there. I tried my best, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But yeah, that's usually the result of when both drivers don't back out. a battle, and they're both trying to go for the win. And sometimes things like this happen, and unfortunately, he came out on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, as you said, 2-1 doesn't work, and that's just how it went. We'll just have to see how that pans out come Stewart's inquiries. But nonetheless, though, as you said, you had the pace the entire race, and, well, you did cross the line first here at the British Grand Prix. Next week, we go over to the Austrian Grand Prix, and, well, you definitely have what it takes to take this title, as we're nearly halfway into this championship. Do you think that you can still challenge for this?
Yes, definitely. As long as I am able to attend the races, I definitely can challenge for it. And it'd be nice going forward where I'm just not involved in something controversial like that. That'd be very, very, very nice going forward. But yeah, I definitely think I can contend for the championship. It's Austria. Austria's not. I don't really know how I feel about Austria in this game. I haven't really had any good races there so far, but the same was the case for Britain until Thursday. I hadn't really had any good league races there either. So maybe this will be the first one that's good.
Yeah, we'll just have to see in just a week's time. Redeemer, do you have any more questions for Veyron?
Negative.
Negative. That interesting response, but nonetheless. Anyways, with that then, that is going to wrap up Tier 2 tonight, and that is going to wrap up the British Grand Prix for all tiers. Be sure to tune in next week, though, starting with Thursday, where we start at the Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring. And we'll see how realistic fares with it first on Thursday. Then it's going to be Tier 3 on Friday. And for those that actually like hearing me, which I'm surprised, I will be commentating that. don't worry. And then we got Tier 2 and Tier 1 same time next week. So be sure to tune in then. But from Redeemer and I, that is everything. Good night, good day, good night, and see you next week for Austria.